These are the final words from a lone apocalyptist. No need to heed the words as the events have already taken place. These words are to explain to you, and all that may hear them, about how the current events came to be. There is a silver lining to these words, but you must stay tuned for them to reveal themselves. A word from the Apocalyptist. April 8, 1994. Bob was a nervous wreck. He had been looking for Vanessa for 3 days. Hadn't slept. Hadn't worked. Had spent every waking moment taking care of their daughter and looking for Vanessa. Bob decided to drive up to Green Tech Pharmaceuticals again to ask if anyone has seen Vanessa yet. When Bob arrived at Green Tech, there was a construction crew in the progress of demolishing the building. The only thing that stood left was parts and pieces of the main structure. All else were rubble on the ground. Bob stood in shock, wondering what was going on. June 3, 1998. Chris was a senior in high school. He wasn't one of those popular kids, but he seemed to fit into every group. He was that kid that everybody knew his name, but they don't really know who he is. He has numerous part-time jobs like auto mechanic helper, building houses, furniture mover, any type of manual labor work he enjoyed. He just enjoyed being outdoors. He had an odd outlook on life but enjoyed every minute of it. When his graduation was coming close, he overheard people talking about vacations, internships, and what colleges they were going to attend in the fall. Occasionally someone would ask him, and his response was always the same: I got to work and learn more on how to survive. He stopped by his job at a landscaping company on the way home to get the address for the job location the next day. Once they gave him the address, and he headed on his way home for the evening. June 4, 1998. Bright and early, Chris showed up at the approximate area. There was a sign hanging off a pole, mostly wood-rotted, but could faintly make out the address. He compared what was scribbled down on the work order. Chris stands and looks around and sees an overgrown dirt driveway off to the right side, about 10 feet past the mailbox. All he can see is a wooded area, and the dirt driveway winds through it and disappears into the distance. He pulls his truck off the edge of the road and climbs out and starts walking towards the driveway. As he approached the driveway, he noticed the overgrown driveway was a lot worse than expected and figured this is going to be a multi-day project. So he headed back to his truck and grabbed his gloves and a machete and walked back towards the brush. He started hacking at the brush. After about 3 hours, he figured it was a good time to take a lunch break and headed to his truck to eat. He pulled his cooler out and lowered the tailgate and sat down. Sitting there staring at the work he had done while eating, it looks like there is barely even a dent taken out of it. He wrapped up lunch, drank some water, and then headed back to work. As he is hacking away at the brush with full force, swinging the machete back and forth, weeds and grass flying everywhere, moving in slowly, foot by foot. He stops to catch his breath, gulps some water, checks his watch. He is shocked. It is just a little past 3. He figured he would work till 4 and then call it a day. He has already cleared the part near the road and up to about 6 feet past the tree line. He drank some more water and got back to work. As he stepped forward with the right swing, his arm came down and smashed into a solid object. The force of the blow sent a sudden vibration through his arm, knocking him back a couple feet. As he regained himself, we walked back over. He kicked lightly into the brush to figure out what had hit. He found himself kicking a large piece of metal. He reached down with his gloves and started pulling the brush away with his hands. As the afternoon passed by, he was well past 4 o'clock. He still pulled at the brush and weeds, and soon he saw the object starting to take form. Once he realized what it was, he quickened his pace, desperately trying to unbury his discovery. As he pulled the last pile of brush off, he took a step back and took a look, and what he could make out was a badly wrecked, mangled car. Since the sun was setting, he decided to call it a night and to come back in the morning.